So a few months back, I said, maybe even a year ago, I said that if I got to 50,000 subscribers, I would tell you guys why I went to jail. And so we got to 50,000 subscribers, and I never told you guys why I went to jail. It wasn't because didn't really want to. It was more just because I sort of forget things, then I procrastinate it, then I never do it. Now we're at like what 62,000 subscribers, and I still haven't told you why I went to jail. So today we're going to be telling you guys why I went to jail. And this isn't really that like cool of a story. I mean, obviously, all right, look, going to jail is not cool. I don't think it's cool in any case. Back in the day, I wasn't like proud of myself, but I did think that I was like something to almost brag about, like, oh yeah, I got a mugshot. But you know, at the end of the day, it was a very, very lame thing to do. It was not cool. I did not go to jail for any reason that would be considered cool. It was just all the way around bad experience. So why don't we get into that, my friends, which all starts in a lovely day in a Walmart with my ex-girlfriend. And, you know, I'm a big Lego guy. And if you guys can put two and two together, you might be able to already figure out where this is going. And again, I'm telling you, it's not that cool of a story. So we're in the Walmart, and I'm a big Lego guy. So I'm going through all the Lego aisles. I'm looking at all the Lego sets that I am definitely never going to get. And I run into one that I hadn't seen before. So there's certain types of Legos. They're called modulars, and they're massive, dude. They're like the fully built out custom interior replica type Legos. And ever since I was a kid, my brother and I have been just very, very big fans of these specific types of Legos. I mean, it was just like the set to have. Behind the Lego Death Star, having a modular was like we made it, you know what I mean? We'd be out the hood if we got a modular. And so I have some that, you know, I've had when I was a kid, but I had never seen a modular in a Walmart. And then I noticed another fun fact about this modular is it had no security tag on it. None of those pesky little spider whatever sensors to make sure you don't steal it. So, it was roughly in that moment I decided I'm going to steal this Lego set. Now, you would think that it would be a spontaneous decision. Something as stupid as stealing a Lego set would not be oh, let me think it over and we'll get back to it. But it was. It wasn't a in the moment sort of mistake, my friends. This was a let's figure out how to steal. I treated this as if it was Ocean's 11, man. I came up with the whole plan over the course of days, because I saw the Lego set, and my ex-girlfriend's a bad influence in some ways, and looking back on it, we were just kids at the end, you know, at the end of the day. But I had just turned 18, so I was also barely legal, baby, to go to jail. So anyway, um, when I told her this, because you know we told each other everything. Just got out of high school, stupid as hell, and I told her like, oh, you know, I I wonder if I can steal the Lego set. And she told me, "Is like, oh, you totally can. You know, all right." My cat just made maybe the loudest noise I've ever heard in my life. I don't know what he knocked over. It might not even be my cat. It might just be a person in my apartment. But I'm in the middle of the story here, so if I get killed, things have been worse. Anyway, but yeah, she told me, she's like, you can totally steal this Lego set because I've stolen more. I've stolen bigger things from this Walmart. And I was like, oh, you know, and so I bought a Lego Harry Potter Lego set instead that day. It was about 20 bucks. And my friends, when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of Ocean's 11. All right. I don't know why I watched Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13, and Ocean's 8. Most of which, once you get through about one of those movies, all of a sudden it's turning into the same damn movie over and over again, where it's like, we have a plan and we put together a crew, and it just all turns into the same thing. Like at that point, it's just basically the same movie three times, about four times actually, except one was all women. Hell yeah, dude. Anyway, but it allowed me to concoct a bit of a scheme here. You know, I couldn't just go into the Walmart, take this Lego set, and walk out nonchalant, my friends. No, no. If you can't tell, I get a bit of an obsessive personality when I have something I want to do. Now, this is very, very good in many, many ways, because in my life, I'm an electrician. No big deal. I'm not trying to flaunt that, but yeah, I am. And so I'm oftentimes wiring up things. Like today, I wired up a very massive transformer, and I do it very, very quickly in my opinion, and also good quality, right? And I can't stop it. Once I start it, it's very difficult for me to stop. And so that's good. That's good. It allows me to have a good work ethic to accomplish things. And then in the builder base, now it's able to be debated whether this was good or not, but I was so obsessed with the builder base and this goal I set out for myself, it allowed me to achieve my dreams and be number one in the world. And then with this Lego set, I was so obsessed with taking a Lego set for no reason. I had the money to buy it, but I was like, oh, I'm going to steal it. That I became obsessed with trying to figure out how to steal a Lego set, my friends. And that is where this whole obsession tendency begins to be a bit of a not good thing to have as far as personality traits go. And so I became obsessed with the idea of taking this Lego set in the same way that my builder base finish completely took over my mind. It was all I could think about. I stopped talking to my friends and family around Christmas time as I started grinding the builder base, just really not healthy stuff. The same level of obsession started to happen over this Lego set. And so I would sit there all day thinking about how I would steal it. I would look up on Reddit. I would look up like how likely is it to get caught shoplifting, right? To which it said it's only like only 2% of people get caught shoplifting. You have in theory a 1 in 50 chance that you're going to get away with it scot-free. So why wouldn't you shoplift? Is basically the moral of that Reddit post. And if hopefully the moral of this story you should take away is why you shouldn't shoplift. So anyway, as I was reading more and more, I was getting more and more confident, like, oh, dude, a 1 in 50 chance, I'm totally not going to get caught. And I came up with the plan. The plan was very, very simple, my friends. The plan was I was going to take the barcode off that Lego Harry Potter set I just bought. We're going to do a little switcheroo. When I get inside there, I'm going to take that barcode, tape it onto the box of the $200 Lego modular, and my friends, we're going to walk out of that Walmart scot-free. In fact, I'm going to pay for the Lego set. They're going to see me pay for the Lego set, and I'm going to walk out. No questions asked. No one's going to ask anything because I'm going to go through self-checkout. Boop, scan that thing, bang, walk out that Walmart. I mean, that's how you shop, right? That's what I thought. And so the day finally came where I was going to go to that Walmart and pull off the heist of the century. And so the reason I was there, by the way, I thought this isn't really important to the story, but I find it kind of a funny fact. Actually, I guess it is kind of important. Is my girlfriend at the time was actually going to that Walmart to interview for a job as I dropped her off to go steal the Lego set. And she told me, she's like, oh, good luck. You know, she knew what I was going to do. The reason she wanted to interview for a job there, by the way, is just because her uncle worked there. And so she knew that she could get a job pretty easily. So, anywho, she wanted to interview for a job. I wanted to steal a Lego set. We were both going to the same place pretty much. And so I dropped her off at her job interview and then said like, oh, good luck. And then I went and began to enact my plan. So what I did is I parked in the very, very back of this Walmart very intentionally because I knew if for some crazy 1 in 50 chance I were to get caught, my friends, I was going to run. I was going to run and go to my car. And the reason I parked really far away was one, I'm like, maybe they'll have less cameras here. And two, I know I'm a fast guy. All right. So I'm going to outrun them, get to my car, my 2008 Toyota Sienna, my 2008 Toyota Sienna minivan. I'm gonna get in that thing. I'm gonna drive off. They're never gonna catch me because who isn't gonna notice a big ass 2008 Toyota Sienna minivan, you know? And so that was my plan. I walk far away, like so far. I don't even know why this Walmart parking lot was that big. Because realistically, who's gonna be walking that far unless they're trying to shoplift? I mean, if you think about it, they kind of brought this onto themselves by having such a big parking lot. And anyway, I walk all the way in and I walk in and my friends, we are what I like to refer to as incognito. I'm wearing jeans, a hoodie, a beanie. My friends, you can't tell anything about me. I think I had sunglasses on too. Your boy is what I like to call inconspicuous. You couldn't see my face, you couldn't see anything about me, and this sort of was intentional. It was like the middle of the summer, so I was kind of hot, but also back in the day, that was just sort of how I dressed. And so I walk into this Walmart and I pretend to be looking at other things. All right, I'm going through like the deodorant aisle, the shampoo aisle. I know that might seem crazy because I'm bald, but my friends, back in the day, I actually had hair, and I'm going through all these aisles, and then I'm like, hmm. And I just nonchalantly walk, and then I intentionally like act like, oh, the Lego aisle. Ooh, ooh. And I sort of go into the Lego aisle and I pretend as if I didn't even know it was there. And I'm looking at Lego sets. These sets are cool. I'm like, yeah, whatever, not my budget. And then I get to the Lego Boutique Hotel and I try to really mimic the body type of whoa. And so I spent about 5 minutes looking at this Lego set as if I'm like thinking, am I gonna buy it? And by the way, I don't know what psycho would go into a Walmart without knowing they're gonna buy a $200 Lego set, randomly see a Lego set that's $200 and just buy it, Like, as if it was just like, cool, a new candy or a $5 thing. In this whole charade, I look at the Lego set as if like, I didn't even know I was coming here to buy a $200 Lego set, but I just saw it and I have to have it. As you grow up, you start to realize a $200 financial decision is not a, oh, look at that. I didn't know that would be here. Let me go buy that now. It's not something like that. $200, my friends, that's not a spontaneous decision, but I really felt like it would be. So I'm taking the box, I'm spinning the box, I'm looking at it front and back, looking at the minifigures inside of it, just looking it over, and I just put on a fake barcode, my friends. I put on the barcode from the Harry Potter thing. And I did it so seamlessly, so perfectly, I didn't even think it was on there. And so I felt it, and sure enough, it was on there. A very slight raised cardboard spot. I had done it. I had done the first part. And so then I walk out the Walmart towards the self-checkout. Because again, despite me trying to pretend as if I was in the Walmart for other reasons, now I'm leaving as soon as I found the what I was looking for, the Lego set. What I'm trying to say is my whole act of thinking I'm so smart and so inconspicuous, it's starting to fall apart. But anyway, I take the Lego set, I walk to self-checkout. And let me tell you, when I tell you I am the goat of making these amazing plans, I mean it, my friends, because what I did, and I had a brilliant plan, is I was gonna go ask the lady at the self-checkout, because another fun fact about this story, by the way, is that I also worked at a Walmart during this time. So, my idea was, you know what's gonna be like, if I see someone with a $200 Lego set, that's kind of suspicious. They might be a little suspicious, which isn't really true, but not the point. My plan was brilliant because I went up to this lady and I said, "Do you guys have any bags that will fit this?" I knew they did not because, my friends, I worked at the Walmart. I was a secret insider of this plan. That's not why I worked at the Walmart, obviously, but I did. Anyway, I knew they wouldn't have any, but in my mind, I was like, what type of shoplifter is going to go ask the Walmart cashier lady, "Oh, do you guys have any bags?" Like, it's supposed to be inconspicuous. She says, "No, I'm sorry." I say, "Oh, you're fine. I'll just leave it in the cart." Just no big deal. Boom, I fooled her. And so anyway, as I continue now, I go and I scan the barcode. $20. This Lego set just got a 10 times discount. I am feeling like a genius here, all right? But there's one last part of this whole thing. I insert my $20 and I'm walking towards the exit. They have those two things that will detect if you have a stolen thing with a sensor in it that go they beep and everything. And I'm walking towards them. And there's moments in your life where it's just so tense. Everything relies on this one moment. Will these alarms go off? Or will I make it through? Because while the Lego set didn't actually have a sensor on it, I didn't know if it had a sensor inside of it. I didn't know anything about what was inside of it. I assumed there wasn't, but was that something I wanted to risk my whole life on? That I want to risk getting in trouble and getting caught trying to shoplift this and just hope there's not a sensor inside of it? I didn't know what to do. And I had thought about this. It wasn't like this was a new realization for me, but I knew at some point I was going to come to this point where it's a crossroads, it's a bridge. Am I going to make this decision? Am I going to try and walk out these doors and trust that there's no security sensor inside of it? I'm walking towards the doors. I'm clenching the cart. I'm gripping it tight because I know that everything is about to happen. I'm either going to get caught or I'm not. These sensors are going to go off or they're not. And I walk through the doors. I pass the sensors. Silence. They did not go off. And I can't explain the feeling I had. I did it. It's over. I did it. I executed the plan. I made it out. I've done it. It was just a deep breath. Bang. I felt a hand on my cart. What's going on? This guy looks up at me. He says, "My name's Corey with Loss Prevention. Please follow me." Fuck, dude. I got, dude. All right, because I did not see this guy. All right, he was faking a phone call. All right, and so to me, I'm like, oh, just a guy on the phone in the middle of this exit. Like we've all been there. It's just a dude on his phone. So I had no clue. I literally, my whole stress was about, was this gonna make a sound? Was there gonna be a sensor inside of it? And I made it through. I made it through. And I thought I had gotten it. And then I feel this hand on my cart. This guy talks, says, "My name's Corey with Loss Prevention." And I know something bad is about to happen. But I also had this plan, all right, where I would just run. I would run away. I would escape all my problems. This guy's a bit of a heavier set guy. I hope he doesn't see this. Not that he really would see this. It's not like we keep in tabs or anything, but he's a heavier set guy, all right? So I knew I could outrun him. But in that moment, I remembered all the times I've ever watched the live PD or Cops or whatever TV show it was. And I would watch it with my dad, and my dad would always tell me, "Look at all these dumbass people thinking they're going to run from the police. These guys are dumb as hell." And I thought, you know what? I'm going to face it. I'm not going to run. And, I didn't see any police anywhere. It was just a loss prevention guy, but I wasn't going to risk it. And so I follow him. And as I'm walking towards this room, the loss prevention room he's leading me in, I see no one other than my girlfriend's uncle working the register. And my friends, it would be one thing if I had a hoodie on, all right? So I'm kind of, a little hidden, except I was wearing a tie-dye hoodie. A red, white, and blue Kool-Aid tie-dye hoodie, bright as hell, so bright. And so I'm like kind of trying to hide my face as I'm walking by him because I know if he sees me walking with the loss prevention guy, he's gonna know. Okay, my niece's dumbass boyfriend tried to steal a Lego set. What? So I just kind of walk past him. I make sure that he doesn't see me. He's too distracted with the people. I'm like, thank God my girlfriend's parents aren't gonna know. And I get to the loss prevention room. This guy, Corey, he brings me in and I sit down. There's a girl inside of there, and she's all business. And so they bring me in, and he's like, "So, do you know why we brought you in here? Fellas, I've seen all these TV shows. I know you're not supposed to talk to the police." And so I immediately explained everything. I immediately told him, "All right, I know. I made a mistake. I thought I could get away with it. I just try to steal a Lego set." And here's the thing: is when I'm under pressure, fellas, I try and make the people laugh. All right, because I think like, oh, if they laugh, it's going to be less of a problem for me. If they laugh, they're gonna like me, and they won't get me in trouble. They'll let me go. I'm gonna just be nonchalant and shit. Just talk with these cops or whatever. Although these guys are just loss prevention dudes. So the girl asks like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I immediately am like, "All right, I tried to steal this Lego set. I know I'm dumb as hell. I'm so sorry. Please, I'm so ugly. Why did I try this?" And they're like, "Okay, can we see, like, we need to take a photo of you," because they put me in their Walmart, like, tried to steal from their thing, and they're taking this photo of me, and they're writing down some information, date of birth. I give them my license because I'm just like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it," and I'm trying to comply with them. And so as I'm doing that, I'm kind of sitting there, I'm waiting, and I look up at this board, and there's a bunch of counterfeit $100 bills there. And one of them even says like $1 million bills. I don't know if you ever seen that meme where it's like, oh my God, my boss is gonna be so mad. And it shows like them looking at a register with like $1 billion bill. You know, it's like clearly counterfeit. But anyway, those were all on this cork board on the wall. And again, when I'm kind of in a nervous situation, I can't not talk. I can't be silent. And so I asked Corey, the guy who caught me. He's about maybe 28 or 29. He seems like a cool dude, honestly. And I'm like, are those counterfeit $100 bills? And he's like, yeah. He's like, and he immediately, he seems pretty like nerdy. Like, I think he feels bad that he caught me, you know, like it is his job, but I feel like, and this could just be me interpreting things, but I really do feel like he felt like bad for me, which wouldn't surprise me because I'm clearly just a kid who made a stupid decision. But I feel like he feels bad for me, and so he's trying to be nice. He's kind of talking to me, you know, not ignoring me. And he's like, "Yeah, dude, people try these, they get biased, and so we keep them all on the wall." And he's showing me this, and we're having a good conversation about these counterfeit $100 bills. And I'm starting to think like, okay, you know what? This guy understands I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a criminal. I'm just a dumbass kid who thought he could steal a Lego set. You know, we've all been there. We have all been there. And so I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm thinking, you know, maybe this isn't going to be that bad. And then the police walk in. Oh, oh, baby, that's not what I wanted to see. The police walk in. They're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then they read me my rights. Not what you want to see either. And they can't, because they can't talk to you before they read you these rights. And so they read them to me. Then they're like, "All right, can we still talk to you?" And again, I'm like, "Yep, yes, you can do anything. Just please don't get me in trouble." Because I thought, you know, maybe I can get my way out of this. Because when I would get in trouble in school, which would be quite often, I was a little bit of a bad boy. I would be able to kind of like charm my way out of these things, charm my way out of tickets and stuff. So I thought I could do the same. And so I'm talking to the cops, and you know, they're just asking basic questions, and then and I don't know what all they asked. I really remember this one question they asked me and my really stupid answer to it. Because again, as I mentioned, I'm trying to make them laugh. I'm trying to be lighthearted, you know, I'm just nonchalant. And so what they ask me is, are you stealing the Legos and reselling them? Because to them, they're like, what loser would try and steal a Lego set? You know, clearly there has to be some ulterior motive, which unfortunately the answer is painfully no. No ulterior motive, just I like Legos. But I was trying to make him laugh. And so what I say to this cop is, and I quote, "No, I'm just a slut for Legos." He's stone faced. Not even a creep of a smile. He just looks at me. Okay. Oh, it's not going well. After that, I'm like, oh, dude, I'm totally fucked. And so they run me through their whole rigmarole. I don't really remember what all they said. They just kind of questioned me. And because I was compliant and I didn't run, they actually let me kind of go off. Not, they didn't take me to jail right that day. But they gave me a citation that basically said, like, all right, all you got to do now is turn yourself in at this point of time. And I don't know if you guys ever been in the situation where you have to optionally go to jail. It's not really an easy decision to try and make here. You know, you don't really want to do it. So I'm in this position and I wait for months. I wait months to go to jail. The deadline's like August. I got arrested, not arrested. I got given the citation in like June, I want to say, like right after I graduated high school. And so I put it off for a while. I didn't tell my parents. I actually told my ex-girlfriend's family before I told mine because I didn't really want to tell my family. My plan was simple. I got a lawyer. I paid for it in cash. Now, my lawyers thought I was like, they did not believe me when they asked like, are you able to pass a drug test? Believe it or not, I've never really been a big drug guy. I did vape and like smoke cigarettes, but that was it. And I don't do that anymore, by the way. If you are doing that, I highly recommend you quit. I quit. It's been one of the greatest things, one of my greatest accomplishments. But anyway, the lawyer asked me like, "Are you going to be able to pass a drug test?" And which I'm like, "Yeah, obviously. I don't do any drugs." Like, you know, and my lawyer doesn't believe me. And I'm like, "Why does my lawyer not believe me about this? Do I really look like that bad of a guy?" And then I remember that when I paid for my lawyer, I paid for him in cash, $1,500, and I had the cash rolled up into like one of those money rolls tied together with a hair tie for no reason. Like I like threw it on the table. Like, do you have the money? I threw that thing on the table for no reason. Like I just wanted to like flex the last money I had because I spent it all on that lawyer. I was broke after that. Anyway, I was handling the whole situation by myself, and I'm in the car with my mom. And at this point, it's been so long since I got caught for this. I'm not really even thinking about it. And we get the mail, everything's going good. Just a normal, oh my lord, why is there a giant bomb there? Just a normal day with my mom. And we're driving up the driveway. We get the mail. We get to the garage, and she's looking through the mail. And she's like, "Oh, what is this?" And I look at it, and it's a letter from a lawyer. And so I see it also has my name on it. And I'm like, that's mine. Don't worry about it. And she's like, "No, it can't be yours. This is from a lawyer." Like, bad news. And so she opens it without even thinking, because again, to her, she's like, "No, there's no reason a lawyer's gonna give you mail. Like, this is definitely for us." And she's freaking out because why is a lawyer mailing them anything, you know? Like, to her, she's like, "Am I getting sued for something? Like, why is there a message from a lawyer here?" And now, honestly, obviously, I knew it, and so she like tears that thing open. She like speed runs that thing. It might be a new record. She opens it, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's not that bad. And I look over and read over her shoulder, and it says like, "We heard you got arrested." Or something. What to say? It's like, "We heard you got caught shoplifting. Don't worry, we'll represent you." I'm like, fuck, dude, come on. As soon as I read like, "We heard you got in trouble for shoplifting," I think it even did say arrested, because it was technically an arrest. They just didn't take me to jail. I don't remember what the wording was. I have the note somewhere. And as soon as I read that on the paper, I look up. My mom looks at me, and it's just like, oh no, the jig is up. So I had to tell my parents and all that. And it's like this whole jail thing's coming up pretty quick, all right? Because I gotta go. I have to go before what was it, August or whatever. And so as it is also starting to dawn on me. By the way, it never really was something I realized, but like, you really don't want to go to jail. Like, it's not that desirable. Obviously, that should be obvious to anybody. But to me, it's like I didn't even consider going to jail was a possibility. Like, like, as I thought about it, I was like, everything I love about being alive is not going to be true if I go to jail. The things I like to do, such as, I don't know, whatever I want. It's just, as I started to think about what it would mean to go to jail, I started to realize, like, oh my God, this is bad. This is very bad. And it's just a weird thing when you really think about it. Like, you literally are somewhere you cannot leave. I know that's the whole premise of jail. It shouldn't be like this is some crazy idea that I just realized. And yet it was. It was like a completely something I really had never thought about. Was like, how does jail work? My friend, you go there and you don't leave. That's how it works. And I'm just getting more freaked out by it by the day. And finally, I'm like, okay, I cannot wait longer. I gotta do this. And so I decide it's time to go to jail, baby. And so I drive to the jail, and I get there, I get in the parking lot, and it's not really easy to figure out where you're supposed to go. So I go into the wrong building for the first start. I go into like juvie or whatever, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm here for jail." And they direct me that way. And so I go to the back of the building, they tell me where it is. And it's not like oh, come open here. It's literally just a door in the side of a brick wall. And it's like, you just got to go in there. You got to press a button and ring it or whatever. And so, I've never done this before. I'm pretty new to this whole turning yourself into jail thing. God, why does he have Teslas everywhere I want to put my freaking cannon carts? Ah, shucks. That's going to make this a lot more difficult. All right, plan B. But anyway, so I sit in the parking lot, I see the door I need to go in, and I think to myself, should I bring my vape in with me? I'm underage. I'm only 18. It's not legal till you're 20, whatever. I really shouldn't. I guess I won't. I guess I won't because what if they find it? And so I don't bring it in with me. I'm like, I'll just be right back. It'll be in and out. And so I bring my phone with me. I get to the jail. I get inside. And by the way, that noise that you hear in video games where it's like the brrr, and then you hear like clanking when a door opens, that's real. I didn't know that. I thought that was just like a silly little video game thing. No, that's exactly what it sounded like. I was just like, "Oh shoot, I'm in this thing for real." And so I get inside the place. It's not that nice a place, believe it or not. It's just like so weird. Like the doors are so fortified. You would think prison wouldn't, not prison. It's not prison, by the way. I didn't go to prison. I went to jail. You'd think jail wouldn't be as locked down, but it's quite locked down, my friends. By the way, I six-starred this with like 2 troops. Anyway, so yeah, I go inside, and then they're like, "All right, just wait in this room for me." So I go into the room. I'm like, "All right, it doesn't matter. I have my phone. I'll just pass time on my phone, my friends. They don't know the meta. They don't know this tech." And I get there. I sit down. I look up just to observe my surroundings. I see a piece of paper, and it says, "Being on your phone is an additional charge." My friends, I didn't want to have 1 charge, let alone 2. And so I have to not be on my phone here. I know, first world problems. Yeah, I'm going to jail for shoplifting, and I'm like, oh no, man, I can't be on my phone right now. But anyway, I can't be on my phone. Springtrap? Really? Why would you not have a trap there? And oh, okay, yep, sure. Anyway, I wait like probably an hour and a half in this jail. And then finally, and by the way, it's not like there's like a bunch of people in line. There's literally no one inside of there except me. I think they're just like trying to my idea is they're probably trying to make you think that jail's not fun. And so they're like, oh, you gotta wait an hour and a half. Literally, no, they didn't actually need to teach me that. I had a very good idea about it. But then again, if I had a good idea, I probably wouldn't have tried to steal a Lego set. So maybe it was probably valuable for them to do. But anyway, I sit there for about an hour and a half. Finally, they call my name and they're like, "All right, well, we got to search you." What? My friends, have you ever been patted down and frisked? My answer was no up until about, I don't know, August of 2022, where I got patted down and searched by the cops in here. Like all these things should be obvious. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know why I underestimated freaking jail. Like yeah, they're gonna have that shit locked down. But for some reason, I was like, they're not gonna search me. And so I'm realizing, like, oh Lord, why did I even think of bringing my vape literally into jail? Like, I think that's honestly, I think that would have been a crime. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, I'm pretty sure like it would be almost like smuggling in not narcotics, but I would have probably gotten screwed if I did that. But anyway, once I get searched and whatever, the lady starts talking to me and she's like, "All right, so you're just here to turn yourself in?" I'm like, "Yep." And she's like, "All right, okay. So take out all your jewelry." So I start, and she hands me one of those bag, and it says prisoner or inmate belongings. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here for that long. I'm supposed to turn myself in and get right out. That was my impression. And she's like, "Well, yeah, okay, yeah. Well, do you have any warrants?" Um, uh, I don't think so. And she says, "Are you sure?" My friends, I can't just say like, that's a good question. I'll be right back and leave the jail. I'm in this thing to win it at this point. And so I'm just like, I don't know. Do I? I asked her like, do I? And she's like, I will see. That's not what you want to hear when you're literally waiting to go into jail, my friends. Is like, oh, am I going to get out? Like, oh, shoot. I wasn't ready to go to jail for real. And so anyway, she gets all my belongings. They put me in the jail, and then they do the intake thing. And it's like all the thumbprints, and they take your photo. They get your information. By the way, when they took my photo, by the way, they didn't tell me when they're taking it. So I was like I was doing like that because I had something on my cheek. And they're like, "All right, we're good." They're not going to hit you with a say cheese. They're not going to hit you with a 3, 2, 1. They just take your photo. I mean, I know I'm not supposed to look good in my, mug shot, but I didn't even get a chance to maybe not look stupid. But yeah, again, these are all first world problems, my friend. This wouldn't be an issue if I don't know, didn't try and steal a Lego set. And so they get me through this whole thing, and if it turns out I don't have a warrant, which I obviously didn't have a warrant, And I'm finally like, okay. And they let me out of the jail. And so I'm out of jail. That's how I went to jail. But then I still had to go to the court case. Court case was no fun, my friends, because I'd never been to court before. I didn't really know what I was expecting. And so I shaved off my I would say beard. It's about what I got right now. It's not really that great. But my mom was very happy I shaved it off, by the way. And they went with me to court because, supporting your son. We've just son's first court date. And they honestly, I was kind of a rowdy kid growing up. They kind of thought this was just like a sign of things to come. And they were just like, all right, well, let's get it over with. Here we go. And anyway, I go to the court date and I'm like, okay, I got a lawyer. I'm ready for this. And I'm looking around and my lawyer is not there. I'm like, oh fuck, dude, where's my lawyer? My lawyer, I'm like calling him like, hey, are you busy? Like, because I'm trying to, I don't know, not go to jail. This whole thing, I'm facing up to a year in jail, by the way, for stealing a Lego set. Again, I'm not saying it like it was a good idea or that it shouldn't be punished, but a year? I'm facing a year in jail for this Lego set. I mean, it's just a big like, oh shoot, kind of learning my lesson here moment. And anywho, my lawyer eventually was like, yeah, I'll be there soon. I mean, the judge also told me, he's like, oh, your lawyer's running late. He'll be here soon. And so I'm sitting there, and then also a little fun fact about this. I turn and I see my manager from work. By the way, I got fired from Walmart. Oh, I didn't even think about this. It's actually kind of funny. So I got fired from Walmart. Obviously, like you can't just shoplift from somewhere and then expect to still work there. They canned me immediately. But when I went into court, there was the loss prevention guy. I stole from a different Walmart than the one I worked at. I'm not completely stupid. And so there was a different loss. Oh shoot, there was a different loss prevention guy, like the one from the Walmart I worked at, and he was there. And I was just like, I waved to him. I was like, what are the odds you're here too? I later realized he's obviously gonna be there because he's probably there like testifying against me, being like, yeah, that dude, he stole from us. He worked here, whatever. But I waved to him, and he just like that. I failed this, by the way, but I'm too deep in the story. I'm too distracted by the story. Anyway, I waved to him, and then as I was going in, I'm like, wait, he's here for me, isn't he? But anyway, I'm in the court. I see my manager from the new job I have at Sonic there. I'm just hitting the same thing I did with my ex-girlfriend's uncle, like, oh fuck, like hiding my face. But I go to court. My lawyer does eventually arrive. He's like, just plead guilty to and do everything he asks. And so I did. And he's like, all right, you're going to be on probation for a year, which means, it isn't really that. For me, probation wasn't that big a deal. It was just expensive. Going to jail, doing any of this stuff is very expensive. So, I was fine, but I was just like, damn, a year? I had to check in with this guy once a month for a year. It was all around a bad story. It was a bad situation. I did get out of it. It got off my record, which I'm very, very thankful for. My lawyer did clutch up with that. Granted, I know people who've like gotten caught. And this is not better, you know. When I was in high school, there was a kid in my school who got caught selling some stuff to another guy in school, which was a lot of crimes in one, felonies, as a matter of fact. And yeah, he never actually even went to jail. He never went to court. He never had anything happen. And then I stole a Lego set. I didn't even get out the frickin' Walmart. I got out the first door. There was another door I had to leave. And I got probation for a year. And it sucked. But to try and maybe end this off, it was a very valuable lesson because I had gone so long in my life thinking I can just charm my way out of anything. When you're that young, you think you're invincible. You think nothing bad can happen to you. You don't think of the consequences of your own actions. And that was me. But when I was given some real shit, where it's like, hey, you could possibly go to jail for a year. And I really realized, like, I did this for nothing. I might go to jail because I wanted a Lego set. It really puts into perspective a lot of things. It really forces you to think more about the decisions you make. It forces you to realize that this shit's real. It's not in school where I would, if worst case scenario, get a detention or suspension, you know? It's like this is your life now. And it really just hit me. And that was the last crime I've ever committed, apart from speeding. We've all been there though. And it was just because I realized how stupid it was to play with something as important to me as my life. I was playing with it. I just felt like I could do whatever. And it was so valuable to realize, like, one, that shit's not cool. It's not cool to go to jail. It's not cool to not be able to have a free life. It's not cool to be confined to anything, confined to these punishments for these decisions you made, thinking you were doing something cool, something fun. It's not cool. I would sit there and I would think people were so cool who were in juvenile detention and they had these ankle monitors and all those things in high school. I was like, these guys are cool. Like they've been to prison. It's like I don't know why you find these stupid things so cool, but I did. I did, and I just I thought it was, even for a little bit after getting arrested, I thought it was cool because I was like, oh, I'm on probation, you know. I can say like, oh, I gotta talk to my parole officer or whatever. But it took me really thinking about it to realize that it's such a sad life. It's such a sad life. You're just constantly screwing yourself over by making these dumb decisions, and then if you never take accountability for them, if you never realize that you're the reason you're in the position you're in, you're the reason you're facing these consequences, you'll never live. You know, these people I found so cool in high school, these people who had all these ankle monitors and experiences in prison, they're dead. They're not even in prison. They didn't get to go to prison. They died. And it's like that's where I could go. That was the path I was on. I'm so thankful that I got caught trying to shoplift a Lego set, because what if I got caught doing something worse? I had the same feeling of invincibility, the same feeling that nothing mattered, that I could be safe from whatever. I could talk my way out of whatever. What if something worse caught me instead of a stupid Lego set that I went on probation for a year for, and now it's off my record? These guys I knew are irrelevant now. They got caught doing stupid crimes, thinking they're just as invincible as I was. One's dead. One went to prison and then got out and then just started working construction. He used to be this really popular guy around the area I lived in. Everybody knew him. Now no one does. No one cares. Being the bad guy who's always getting in trouble is cool in high school, I guess. I mean, I don't even, okay. I don't think it's cool now. I thought it was cool in high school, but as you become older, you realize that shit's not cool. And I can't explain how thankful I am that I got caught shoplifting. Like, I'm thankful that I didn't succeed, because I would have just kept going and done something dumber. I'm thankful that I ever decided I could maybe steal a Lego set, because trying to steal a Lego set momentarily ruined my life. I was broke. I was broker than broke. I was like $300 maybe to my name. My girlfriend like wanted me to keep being as if I wasn't, I don't, broke as hell. Like I was door dashing, which is fine, but you're not making much money door dashing in a 2008 Toyota Sienna. It was just, my life sucked. And I was 18 and I was like, how did I already fuck everything up for myself? You know, I just got out of high school and I'm already screwed. My life could be so much worse right now. I'm very, very lucky that I got caught doing something as minor as trying to steal a Lego set. It's a very valuable lesson. It's something that I hope that you don't ever need to learn, because I just told you. I've gone through this for you. I've made this stupid mistake. I've gotten caught. I've gone to jail. I've paid for the lawyer. I've gone to court. I've gone through probation. I've been broke. I've been feeling like my life's already ruined at the age of 18 because I thought it would be cool to break a law for no reason. It sucks. Everything about it sucks. No one thinks it's cool. It's just, don't do that. I think it's cool. What I think is cool in life now is taking charge of your life and doing the things you want to do, overcoming the difficulties that you struggled from. I vaped since the age of 15, and then I was able to overcome that when I was nearly 20. That shit's cool. It's not cool to do drugs. It was one of the coolest things I've done. I've been number one in the world. Today I dunked a basketball. I've done all these crazy things. I started a YouTube channel. I made it into this job that I really wanted. The coolest thing, the most impressive thing, the thing I would never change, the thing I would probably give so much to never have to go back to, is that I quit vaping. That was so hard for me. That took me 2 years to try and successfully do, and I've successfully done it now. That's what's cool, is overcoming an addiction. It's cool that I used to be 130 pounds at being 6'3". I was tired all day. I couldn't leave the bed, and now I've gained 50 pounds. I'm active and I'm happy, taking charge of my life. I don't stay up until 4 a.m. anymore. I don't do all these stupid things that I thought was cool to do as a kid because I grew up and realized that's not what I wanted for myself. That's what's cool. I hope that you guys don't fall in the same trap I did where you think you need to be some bad boy, break the laws, and just do stupid shit to make yourself, I don't know, not important, but like, I don't know, make people think that you're cool. You shouldn't care if someone doesn't think you're cool unless you try and shoplift a Lego set and go to jail for no reason. That person sucks. That's what's up. I wanted to make sure this story didn't seem like I was trying to glorify me going to jail, because I'm not. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever done. But I would not take it back for the world, because it allowed me to grow so much as a person. If you're in the same position I was into, where you're feeling like you've made a big mistake and it's hopeless and your life's over, I promise you it's not either. It's just going to be a shitty learning moment in your life. And you're going to look back upon it one day and tell it as a story of how stupid you were when you're 18. There's the jail story. Sorry it took so long. I hope you take something from it, though. And as God forbid, the thing you take from it is a Lego set from Walmart. Because, fellas, it's not worth it. But yeah, it's about 47 minutes and 40 seconds. I hope you guys enjoyed. See ya.